What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and today, bringing you the hyped, most ambitious series I have ever tried to do here on Beast Mode TV. You guys requested it. I kind of doubted it, but then I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to give a full 7-round mock draft plus free agency grade for every single team in the NFL. We're going to start with number 1 pick, Cleveland. We're going to work to the team with the least shit pick, which would be probably the Patriots, who pick. I don't think they picked till the 3rd round. So this is being recorded and started on the 20th of March. So some trades may happen that may influence a little bit of the picks throughout this series. But, you know, you just look when the video is uploaded before you comment, and you look like an absolute moron. You know, it's a lot of work, man. I've already spent probably 4 or 5 hours, and I was just able to finally finish the first 7-round mock for the Cleveland Browns. Another thing is, though, I'm an Eagles fan. Most of you guys know I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm going to be trying to assess and address the needs of all 32 teams in the NFL, which is pretty tough. So if you're a diehard of a certain team, you may have a difference of opinion than me, so feel free to let me know in the comment section below if you think I should go somewhere else. I don't think there's going to be enough time for me to upload a second edition of this, but hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I can get some fans from other teams to finally, come out and check Beast Mode TV and maybe, stick around and enjoy my channel. So we're starting with the Cleveland Browns, who finished 1-15 last year, 30th offense in the league, 31st defense in the league, so only way to go is up. Their MVP last season, in my honest opinion, was Terrell Pryor, who they let walk to the Washington Redskins, and I don't really think that was a monetary thing. I really do believe with all the salary cap, obviously with the Brock Osweiler thing, they have a cap. They're just burning salary cap right now. I think it was more of a difference of opinion. Him and Terrell Pryor and Hugh Jackson weren't really seeing eye to eye on things. I think that's why they let him go rather than trying to hash out a long-term deal. I think they may live to rue that decision. I think for a team like Cleveland, you need as many playmakers as you can. And a guy like Terrell Pryor, for as poor quarterback play you had last season, you probably should match the $6-7 million that the Redskins are going to give and retain your studs. But they decided to let him go, and we'll see what happens. So their needs before free agency for the Cleveland Browns, I had quarterback, center, right tackle, defensive back, offensive weapon, just anyone on the offense that can make some game-changing plays, and defensive end. Quickly going through and grading their free agency period, they released Tramon Williams, who I freed up $7 million in cap. I'm giving that an A. They released Josh McCown, which freed up $4 million in cap, B+. They released RG3, which freed up nearly $7 million in cap, A-. They re-signed Jamie Collins, some in-house dealings, 4 years, $50 million. I'm giving that a B. Good piece of business there. A lot of people were worried when the Patriots traded Jamie Collins that he'd be one and done in Cleveland and then hit free agency, so it looked all right for there. They signed Kenny Britt, 4-year, $32.5 million. I'm giving that a C+. Solid wide receiver signing. They needed to get one with the loss of Terrell Pryor. I think that was a little too much money, in my opinion, but still not bad. They extended Joel Bitonio, 5-year, $51 million. Giving that a C+, continuing to build that offensive line. But that's a lot of money for a guy that's been, above average starter. But you do what you do. Still got upside. He's young. They signed J.C. Tretter, 3 years, $16 million. Giving that a B. Much needed improvement at the starting center position. Cameron Irving's looking a little bit like a bust right now. They signed Kevin Zeitler for 5 years, $60 million. Giving that a B. He was one of my top 10 free agents for the upcoming free agency period. Continuing to build that strong offensive line. Now with Joe Thomas, Joel Bitonio, Tretter, Zeitler, and then probably, they may look at re-signing Austin Patzer, my Canadian brother, starting at right tackle. If they can shore up that right tackle spot, they have a very good offensive line, which you need a good offensive line in the AFC North. And then finally, they traded a 2017 4th-rounder to Houston for Brock Osweiler, a 2017 6th-rounder, and a 2018 2nd-rounder. So it looks like they will eventually release Brock Osweiler, but as it stands right now, you kind of have to assume that they just did all that to flip it for a 2nd-round pick, which is great. Piece of business. What can I say? Phenomenal job there. They have now absolutely stacked for draft picks this year and next year. So before we jump into the mock draft, let's kind of talk and look at their 2016 draft and how I thought about it. I really thought Cleveland did a nice job. Corey Coleman, Manuel Ogba, Carl Nassib, Rashard Hollywood, Higgins, Spencer Drango. All were great picks and picks that I liked. I even like Scooby Wright, who's no longer on the roster, but I really like the way that they addressed a lot of the positions. Got good guys from college football, guys with great college pedigrees. Sashi Brown, decent job. The only pick I wasn't really sold on was Cody Kessler initially, but still, he looks like, 12 touchdowns, 6 picks last year. There is some upside there. I don't think you could roll with him as a starter quite yet, but there's upside. Anytime you have upside at the quarterback spot for a young guy, you never know how they're going to develop in the offseason. So there might be something there. I personally don't believe it, but he could end up being a nice backup or someone you can trade if they go ahead and find another starter elsewhere. So that will do it for that. And let's jump into the 7-round mock draft. Here we go. So I know there's a lot of people that are assuming Cleveland will mess this up brutally with the first round, but I'm drafting for them, and I hope to God they don't, because you always kind of want the Browns. You don't want the Browns to constantly be the joke of the NFL. So with the first pick of the first round, they're going to be selecting the freak Myles Garrett from Texas A&M, 4'6", 440, 33 reps on the bench press, 6'4", 270 pounds. This guy's an absolute monster, very productive even when he was a little bit banged up last year with Texas A&M, still was an absolute monster with 8.5 sacks. I think you can't go wrong. He is the surefire. It's Myles Garrett and everyone else in this year's draft class, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, you could come right in 3-4, 4-3, whatever they plan on running next year. He could come in and start an opposing defensive end with Emmanuel Ogbah, forming a very, very terrifying defensive front. They go to a 4-3, still same difference. He's an absolute monster. You could put him in any scheme. He will succeed. Cleveland cannot mess this up. It is a surefire home run with Myles Garrett, and that's how we have them taking at number 1. Jumping to number 2. The 12th pick in the first round. So I said we need to get an offensive weapon. And wide receiver, I don't think there's going to be really a wide receiver at 12 they'd want. Maybe a guy like John Ross is still there, but I think he's too similar to what you get in Corey Coleman. So I have them going. I haven't seen him mock to them in any mock drafts. O.J. Howard, the tight end from Alabama. A lot of guys are saying he may be the most safe offensive weapon in this year's draft class. He's a freak at the tight end position. 4'5", 140, 22 on the bench press. Destroyed the shuttle and agility drill. 6'6", 250. He's a willing and able blocker. Pro comparison, Julius Thomas. I think that's kind of underselling. I think O.J. Howard might be the top tight end prospect I've ever seen. I haven't watched really... Let's see, who can I think off the top of my head that's as good of a tight end? I remember like Austin Seferian-Jenkins was probably the last most hyped, or maybe Eric Ebron, and he's way better than those two guys. Even though he wasn't super productive in Alabama, I think that was more because Alabama couldn't use him. So, I mean, you look at Cleveland, you have the 1-year wonder, Gary Brownage. Worst case scenario, he could be your 2. You have Howard at 1, and then you have a 2 tight end set potentially. More weapons to get on the field. But, you know, that's the thing with Cleveland. It always seems like every other year their tight ends have big seasons, be it Jordan Cameron, Gary Brownage. So I think with this scheme, O.J. Howard, if they get the ball to him, he is a low-key sleeper to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He is an absolute mismatch nightmare, a freak, and I don't think Cleveland can go wrong here at number 12. Get some goddamn for sure things here and stop, make up for the last decade of drafts of bust. These are 2 incredibly safe picks. Just do it, Cleveland. Going to the second round. Pick 33. I have them going Jabril Peppers, the safety, the free safety from Michigan. There's a lot of, he's going to play linebacker, corner. I think he can do it all in the I think he's just a defensive back. He can play free, strong, and I think even a little bit of nickel corner. And that's exactly what the Browns need. Their current starting free safety is Ed Reynolds, formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles. I know Ed Reynolds. He was usually pretty good in the preseason, but when the regular season came in, he's just not that good. I think he'd be a good depth guy for them to have. But let's go and get an absolute freak athlete at free safety. Might not have, a complete product there right now. But I think right now he would be able to start in their safety spots, be it free or strong. Ibrahim Campbell and Ed Reynolds. No, Jabril Peppers would start. Get yourself a freak on the defensive side. That's a common word. 3 freaks. Goddamn, get out, Big Papa Pump, Big Bad Booty Daddy, Freak Nation, Freakzilla. Get yourself some studs. Jabril Peppers would be a perfect fit in Cleveland, and they'll have another weapon to use and move around back there in the secondary. Going to pick number 52 of the second round. I have them going to quarterback. This quarterback slipped. I think quarterbacks will slip in this year's draft class. I have them getting Deshaun Kaiser, the quarterback from Notre Dame. I think Hugh Jackson will fall in love with one of the quarterbacks, be it Kaiser, be it Davis Webb, or Deshaun Watson. I think one of the 3 guys, Hugh Jackson's not letting on that he really likes him. I think if Kaiser's here at 52, the Browns are going to sweep him up. They're not going to rush him to start, which he can't do right now, but Kaiser has potential to be a freak starting. There's the buzzword of the day for the Browns, freak. Take a shot every time I say freak. His NFL comparison is Steve McNair, an incredibly high ceiling. He didn't really look good at the drills of the combine. He didn't really look good last year with Notre Dame, but if he's the kind of guy, you put him in a bubble. Worst case scenario, you play him like week 10. You give him all that offseason, the training camp, and then you give him like a big chunk of the season just to continue to work. But I think he's the kind of guy, as much as I think he's a little bit overrated, he could be the next Dak Prescott, the guy that, some people are kind of slipping on, but all the athletic traits are there, just needs time, just needs to get the right quarterback guru in his head, and he can put it all together. So I think ideally Kaiser won't start till next year, but if, Browns, they have some foresight. They kind of botched the Carson Wentz thing, let's be honest. And maybe if they don't see a quarterback next year, they might want to take a flyer in the second round of Deshaun Kaiser, have him sit behind a Cody Kessler or whoever they decide to get, and then you might have a guy that definitely could run Hugh Jackson's system here. So there you get their quarterback here at number 52. Jump to the third round, pick 65. I have them going after a wide receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster from USC. 4'5", 440, 15 on the bench press. A little bit banged up, kind of hurt his stock last season if he came out as a junior. He had 189 receptions, almost 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. So he wasn't fully healthy. I think if you get a healthy Juju Smith-Schuster, this is a phenomenal pick. He can be wide receiver 3 day 1 for the Cleveland Browns. Great compliment with Kenny Britt and Corey Cohen. What they have there right now, he's a monster. He's an absolute monster. He's a freak. Can we? Well, we're not going to throw in freak because he's not an athletic freak, but he has great hands, great route running. Only thing really issue with him is separations. A lot of the same comparisons and complaints people have with Mike Williams from Clemson, but I think getting him in the third round opposed to a team that will bust a first-round pick on Mike Williams, that is great value, and this is a great pick for the Cleveland Browns. I think, he can come in and compete, and I don't really see anyone else there at wide receiver 3 that will be able to take that spot from Juju Smith-Schuster, and he'll be healthy, and that is a great pick for whoever they have at quarterback, I think, in my honest opinion. So then jumping to the fourth round pick, 108. I have them going safety, Eddie Jackson. If you go with Jabril Peppers, why not bring in another safety? Kind of banged up towards ACL. Has had some injuries throughout, but I think the upside is there, especially if you can only spend a fourth round pick to get another safety. You need another safety back there. I'm not personally sold with Ed Reynolds and Campbell, so I think a guy like Eddie Jackson, Alabama, tutelage, athletic freak, get him when he's healthy. There could be a lot of upside to get right there. Jumping to the pick 145, I have Shaquille Griffin, the defensive back, the corner from Central Florida. Ran a 4.38 40, just jumped out of the park. Athletic freak, lots of upside. Bringing a guy that can come in and compete for that corner 3 spot, get some starting snaps, especially in the 5th round. That is phenomenal value. I think he can come right in right away and compete with Marcus Burley, Breon Body Calhoun for those spots behind Joe Hayden, Jamar Taylor. Then with pick number 175, another wide receiver, etta-tawo from Syracuse, 4'4", 940, 14 on the bench press. Phenomenal hands. Some of the best set of hands in college football, and coming into this year's draft was a monster last year. 94 receptions, 1,400 yards, almost 1,500 yards, and 14 touchdowns. Again, continuing to add weapons wherever they can on the offensive side of the ball to improve that bottom tier ranked defense. With pick number 181, their last pick in the 5th round, I have them going to tackle Connor McDermott from UCLA. 5'1", 40, because that's super important, but he had very good agility, very agile, can come in, I think, and compete for that right tackle spot for a 5th rounder. I'm higher on him than a lot of other people. Some people have him fairly low because he did get beat by premier pass rushers, but you're not going to face premier pass rushers all the friggin' time, and I think he could come in and compete for that right tackle spot with Cam Irving, Sean Coleman, depending on what they do with Austin Patzer. That's what you need at the right tackle spot. If you're not going to be able to go and get a for sure thing, you want great competition and let the cream rise to the top. With the 6th pick, number 185, after them going and getting a running back, Jamal Williams from BYU, 4'5", 940, a big-time power back, 6 feet tall, 220 pounds. Very productive with BYU, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, and he missed a couple games with injury. So I think NFL size, physical, just another guy to bring into that backfield because, who knows what's going to go with Isaiah Correll. You never know. They may want to let him walk when his contract's up. So bringing a guy that can complement Duke Johnson in their backfield here in the 6th round in a very stacked running back draft class. And then finishing up with pick number 188 in the 6th round, I have them going after Markel Lee, the linebacker from Wake Forest, inside linebacker, put up 25 on the bench press. I think he's going to be a very solid linebacker, thumper in the box, 4'3" linebacker, can play 3-4. I think the only thing that might hurt him is dropping back into coverage. Not a freak athlete by any means, but the guy that's versatile to play in a 3-4 and a 4-3. I think versatility at the linebacker spot, improving the depth there behind Christian Kirksey and Joe Schobert and Demario Davis. That would be nice. He can come in and definitely, eat in some snaps and probably more so look to be an impact playmaker on special teams. Well, there you go, guys. There is your 7th-round mock draft plus free agency and all that stuff for the Cleveland Browns. I hope you guys are excited for this. Every day there will be a new team. So if you're a Browns fan, if you're anything like that, share this shit on Twitter. Get the word out because this is going to be ambitious. It's super fucking ambitious, and I hope you guys do enjoy it. If you're a Browns fan, let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with my picks. And I don't know how many likes I want on this video. For how much work this takes, maybe we can get, because there's 32, some teams aren't as popular as others, 100 likes. 100 likes on this video, minimum, I'd like. And tomorrow, I don't know what time yet, I have to fucking record it, will be the San Francisco 49ers. So thank you guys for watching so very much. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out. Like, subscribe.